and I'm an investigative filmmaker that's always been so fascinated about what happens to you when you die. I've always believed that we have a body and a soul that are separate from each other, and that our soul can live on long after our bodies have died. These beliefs have been purely based on books that I've read, stories I've been told, but nothing I've ever experienced for myself. So we decided to embark on a journey, immersing ourselves into the world of those who say they've been able to tap into this afterlife in an attempt to answer the question, what really happens to us beyond the grave? To start this journey, it felt natural to sit down with someone who deals with death on a daily basis. So I decided to meet up with Maria Telliano, a woman that has a very interesting job. She's a death doula and an end-of-life coach.
The work that I do is I hold sacred and nurturing space for people who are transitioning. And my mission is to rebrand death. And through that mission, I've created an end-of-life school that certifies other end-of-life coaches to hold this sacred space. There is so much happening right now within the collective that is really asking us to honor this process and to witness our brothers and sisters in this beautiful and nurturing way. For me in particular, I come in and I work with sound, meditation, breath work, end-of-life coaching, legacy projects, so helping them create a legacy project to honor their life. And that really helps the family in the grieving process too. And then I help them design how they want to die, which is called a vigil. So oftentimes people who are at the end of life, they're just kind of at the mercy of whatever the aesthetics is of the room.
Right.
But I serve, and the people who are end-of-life doulas serve as a reminder that, do you want certain scents? Do you want the lighting to be a certain way? The fear of death is rooted in a lot of human suffering, and we don't have to suffer like we thought we had to. So I really want to liberate people through their ways that they can interact and lean into death as opposed to not talk about it and retreat. So this was given to me, by a client who was transitioning. And it's just been really special to me. He was one of my biggest teachers, and he still works with me now when I'm serving other people and other clients.
So now that he's passed over.
He shows up for me in a very beautiful way, constantly. And it was very clear when I was serving him before our first session that this was going to be bigger than I had ever imagined. And it still keeps unfolding. He still keeps showing up for me and helping me and just being like my ally on the other side.
I've had the privilege of spending some time with a couple of people just before they passed away. And honestly, for me, it was a very, very depressing experience. But for Mary, it seems as though she derives so much joy from helping people transition from one state to another.
He initially called me to be his end-of-life doula during a time where he was still really fighting for his life. So the conversation was, I don't want you to be my death doula, but I feel I need you in my life.
Right.
So, and I get a lot of clients that way, that know there's a part of them that's not ready to let go, but are
realistic, I guess.
Fundamentally preparing for the support.
Yep.
So our sessions look like sound healing, breath work, Reiki healing, and sometimes—
And what was wrong with him?
He died of cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, pancreatic.
Right.
And so
quite aggressive.
Very aggressive,
rapid,
very quickly. Yeah. But our sessions at the beginning just looked like me walking him through his test medicine. So I will empower my clients to be in that state of receiving chemo and receiving it from a place of, this is my medicine. I'm choosing you. I'm going to allow you into my body because I believe we can work together to make me whole again. He had a really beautiful setup. The home that he was in was all windows that overlooked the ocean.
Wow.
He had a beautiful medicine blanket over him at the whole time, and had this crystal that laid underneath him. We opened up all the doors and had the beautiful breeze. And this was in April 2 years ago. And so it was spring and new life. And he just slowly passed away in that state. There was like 3 or 4 days where he was in the active dying state, and you can just, different markers that are happening on people where their body, it's getting closer. Yeah, he died there outside in the middle of the afternoon, surrounded by his wife and his children. And she took photos of his whole process, and you could see his spirit come out and like wrap around his children.
What do you mean you could see it?
I have to just show you the pictures. Okay. I'll just show you the picture, because you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
So this is how he passed.
Wow.
That's him holding it. Like, look how
it's vibrating.
It's like a very...
That's incredible.
Yeah. If there is proof that the spirit is energy, I feel like this is that.
Oh, wow. Has there been a common denominator there? Has there been one thing that stood out to you that could be a message for others that are supporting someone that's going to pass?
Yeah, it's always the same thing. It's just, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Give it a chance and see where your fear comes from, because we're not born with it. Our fear of death is often taught to us through religion or social hierarchy, or just the things that we maybe even witness in the media, on TV shows. Our pets dying and not knowing how to walk us through that. So just kind of investigate where your fear is, and then know that that's the thing that's inhibiting you from fully living.
Right.
Death wants to teach us something, and it only gives back when we participate with it in this healthy conversation. Rebranding death is just really born from the fact that we're not dying well. And there's a huge fear in our collective that eats away at so much of our bandwidth. And so rebranding death is giving people a new way to live. It's giving them a new way to die as well.
Mary has such a unique perspective. She's been able to witness hundreds of people at the point of passing away. And whilst these people have passed away, she's been able to see their spirits not only leaving the body with her eyes, but she's also been able to capture them on camera. So if our spirit really does leave our body, where does the spirit go? Are we heading up to heaven? Are we sticking around to haunt our loved ones? Or are we going somewhere else?